Hi there, everybody. It's Mark Lawrenson here from Sydney Astrology School. And thank you very much for joining me as we continue on with the North Node through the Sign series. And in this episode, episode number 2, I'm going to be talking about the North Node in the Earth signs. So I'm going to be talking about Taurus and Virgo and Capricorn. So before we start, when you're thinking of the Earth signs, you have to come to an understanding that this planet, the Earth plane, is sacred territory for the Earth signs. This is their terrain. This is the area of life that they're going to be learning the most from. So when you're thinking about Taurus and Virgo and Capricorn as a North Node, they're very, very different. They do have different energies. But the Earth and everything the Earth has to offer, and understanding yourself as a component as far as being a human here on the planet in a body and having to work in a concrete realm or the concrete arena is going to be very important for you this lifetime. So let's begin with the North Node in Taurus. So if you have the North Node in Taurus, the need for you to integrate simplicity and serenity this lifetime is super, super important. Now, this is bouncing off or coming from the South Node in Scorpio. Now, the South Node in Scorpio is very complex and it's very intense. And I did a whole YouTube clip on the South Node in Scorpio if you want a little bit more detail about that. But the North Node in Taurus, of course, is going to be exactly the opposite. So the need to come into some kind of place of calm, and as I said, serenity is going to be super important. Now, coming into the body, I feel is really important for the North Node in Scorpio. To actually feel that you're in a body again. You know, that feeling of being able to get in touch with your senses, to be able to touch and taste and kiss and smell and listen to music and feel, get the senses heightened again. Be amongst nature, long walks in nature and be amongst trees and plants and flowers and animals. Get your toes into the earth, that kind of thing. I feel the groundedness of all that is really, really important for you this particular lifetime, to actually stabilize you, to actually bring you back down onto the earth plane again. There is a security and a safety and a need to stabilize with that kind of feeling. As I said, the senses need to be attended to. So I want to say languish. I want to say maybe have bubble baths, maybe go into areas where you can have massages or even be part of that, massage other people and you get massaged as well, getting back into the feeling of each other on that very, very tangible and very sensual and even sexual level as well. Get into anything to do, when I say food, I mean not necessarily overeat, but again, get into the feeling of food being sacred and money being sacred as well. This is another thing. Having a healthy approach to money is really, really important for the North Node in Taurus. And when I say a healthy approach, I mean to respect money, to understand money, and to be able to use it and value it, to be able to use it in the correct sense. And feel free with it. When I say feel free with it, I mean to not hold on to it, but to be able to feel that you're making money through something that you're valuable for, and then getting paid in kind. I think that's really important for the North Node in Taurus to understand as well. Artistic, become, if you have an artistic streak, or even if you don't, play around with color, play around with, particularly with things you can do with your hands. I find that Taurus is very good at stuff to do with like maybe sculpturing or or clay work, or getting their hands into anything where they can be creative and artistic. That's a really important thing for the North Node in Taurus, to allow themselves to enjoy and to play around with. The North Node in Taurus, I think, has that feeling of coming into a place where you can actually feel a feeling of inner peace as much as a feeling of outer peace. Many people think of Taurus, just on the level of being able to feel safe in the material world or in the concrete world. But Taurus is the bull, is the bull. And the bull is in a very, very peaceful, languished place in the paddock, and it's grazing. And you get that feeling of that lovely, lovely, calm, sedate feeling that you need to be able to acquire this particular time around. Okay? So let's look at the North Node in Virgo. So if you've got the North Node in Virgo, here is another reason to get back into the body again, and possibly even more, a slightly different way to Taurus, but possibly even more than Taurus, because you're coming off the back of the South Node in Pisces. And the South Node in Pisces often feels a little bit like it's out of the body, between the two worlds, that kind of thing. Pisces has no boundary with the South Node, that feeling of actually feeling that it could just be merging into everything and everyone. Here, with the North Node in Virgo, there is a real need for you to come into the body and to understand the body and to be able to work with it and work through it. And so I always think that the North Node in Virgo needs to be able to build parameters. It really does. It has to be a beach with a shark net. It has to know what to bring into its life and what to keep out of its life. It has to become discriminating, and it has to understand what works and what doesn't. As I said, it's bouncing off the Piscean South Node, which probably let too much in and didn't have the boundaries to be able to protect itself. And so with Virgo is a very work-oriented sign, and so finding the right work is really important for the North Node in Virgo. Finding work that you feel are accomplished at in some kind of way, that you've honed, like a skill of sorts, or a particular craft or an ability. Make sure that you will love it and make sure that you enjoy it, but be very, very conscious of helping with it or serving with it in some kind of way. Be very conscious of being of some kind of aid or assistance or healing. Virgo is a very healing sign. So it's important for you this lifetime to come into a place in the body, in the physical, and to be able to understand the body as a temple and to use it as such. And for you to be able to understand that and to be able to work with it and work through it and be able to help people on that level too is a very, very important Virgo, North Node in Virgo thing to do. Routine. I think it's really important for North Node in Virgo people to get their life into working order and get into a routine of sorts. And when I say a routine, I'm not talking about something boring. I'm talking about just being able to know what you're doing and when to do it. That kind of thing. I always joke around in class about how ordered the universe is, particularly the solar system, and how all the planets are actually not going, oh my God, Saturn, where are you going? Are you moving over here? Because I'm going over there. I might bump into you. That feeling of all the planets are actually moving in such a streamlined, systematic, detailed, ordered fashion that none of them are coming out of whack. You know what I mean? And so there is something about you this particular lifetime that has to get yourself into that kind of order. Again, it's not about being OCD or becoming myopic. It's just about you being able to understand your life. It's like having a clean desk, that kind of thing. It's a feeling of being able to work when everything is moving systematically and in a way where you can manage it. So the North Node in Virgo is asking you to move into that kind of territory. Learning on the level of systems and techniques and modalities, anything that uses your mind on an analytical level, or where you can work something out, where you can pull it apart and put it all back together again, is really important for you as well. Okay? So let's look at the North Node in Capricorn, everybody. So the North Node in Capricorn is an interesting one because it is about you being able to come into a place, and the North Node is always new territory. It's uncharted territory. So it feels like I have to now feel that I have a mission. Coming into the North Node, it feels like I have to take charge of my life in some kind of way. I have to be the boss of my life. I have to be the authority of my life. And it's bouncing off the South Node in Cancer. The South Node in Cancer can actually go down the road of emotional neediness, you know, that feeling of being overwhelmed by clan or family and what they want from you, always on an emotional level or a feeling level, and a feeling of not being able to see yourself outside of that, or the demands that the emotional demands that the tribe or the family have had on you. And so that's that feeling of everyone kind of linked together, everyone kind of bonded with each other. Capricorn is very much alone. You know, Capricorn, the little goat, you know, climbing the mountain all by itself. I can do it alone. I can do it by myself. I don't need anybody to help me out. There's a self-reliance going on here and a self-sufficiency going on here. And so the need to be able to integrate that kind of energy this particular lifetime is really important. There's an energy around mastery. So if it's mastery in work, or if there's an ambition of sorts, or a career achievement, then that's fine, but it doesn't have to be that. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be as concrete as all that. It will depend on the house, of course, that it's in, that will give you much, much more detail about the terrain. But the Capricorn mission doesn't necessarily always have to be out there in the concrete world. It can actually feel like something that I've come here to do, and it has to be completed, or I have to get my the goal done or the goal finished. And so to become goal oriented is going to be very important for you, and also to become mature. The South Node in Cancer has that feeling of the mother-child thing, and often it flip-flops between them both. And to become mature and to be grown up and to be able to feel that you can make mature decisions and handle things on your own and not necessarily get pulled back to the emotional neediness of the past is going to be super, super important as well. So there is the North Node in the 3 earth signs. So if you've got the North Node in one of those earth signs, that's where you're heading. That's where you need to head this particular lifetime. It's going to be a healing territory for you. It's going to be a territory where you're going to feel like you've made some great strides towards your evolutionary mission or evolutionary journey. So next time, I'll talk about the North Node in the 3 air signs. So thank you for listening to me.